here. My name is Alexander Hegberg and I'm a team driver for XRAY. We also have Dominic from Singapore here, who's also an XRAY team driver. We're going to talk a little bit about setup for this particular T.R.C. track. The car we're running here is the T4 2017. It's the car you see right here is my car. It's full of option parts. We'll go through some of the option parts that we run for this particular track. For example, right here, it's important to use the ARS rear suspension. It's a key to a good setup at T.R.C. for the GP track. As you can see, we're running an aluminum rear C-hub to put some weight on the rear axle. That'll make the car a lot more stable off power. We're playing with the shims on the rear suspension to change the balance of the car in the corner. Usually we end up running 0 or 1 millimeter on this position of the steering link. And a few other things are equally important. We're running a graphite front C-up, which is a basic option part for asphalt for us. Springs are the hard progressive ones. We're running PSS shock inserts to make the damping more aggressive and give you more grip. We're also running aluminum steering posts in the middle. Will give you more steering lock and make the steering more responsive. There's a few other options on the car which make it easier to use. We have the adjustable body mount and adjustable battery holders.
咁就講下有乜想見，為咗呢場嚟食嘅。第一樣嘢佢講就係個 ARS 會係 ARS 啦，有車場。咁就一定會用埋呢個鋁嘅 C 座。咁就佢就話，因為重啲比較重啲，咁就佢後面就多啲重力擲住個尾轆，咁就尾有嗰時會定啲。佢哋仲喺度試緊呢個轉向杯嗰個戒指嘅，就試緊1:0啦。碳纖頭 C 座就呢個。彈弓咧就行緊呢個硬啲嘅接進彈弓，咁就係25/200。裏面咧就行埋呢個接進筒嘅，對硬筒嘅。仲有呢個鋁嘅轉向水撥，佢就話會多啲睇角。同埋佢呢個鋁嘅可以較嘅電池溝。
Covered everything? Yes. Alright, so we can explain a bit more about the setup for this track. Because at T.R.C. we have a lot of grip because there's a lot of oil in the surface. So we use a hard dip oil in the rear, usually 10,000 or even hotter sometimes. As you know, there's a couple bumps on the track, so you raise up the ride height like O2, so it's 5.2 and 5.4. We're playing with the roll center. We added a shim for the bump steer, so it's actually 3mm instead of the usual 2mm. You get a bit more mid-corner steering. And yeah, those are the key things for the setup here. I mean, we're also running the optional anti-roll bars, which is 3 in the front and 2 in the rear. That's softer than the kit setting.
咁就佢講解下佢為咗呢場車嘅轉咗嘅 setting 啦。咁就因為佢話有啲蹬喎，咁就會車高會升翻0.2，比咗平時行嘅0.2係包括嘅5.2、5.4，同埋呢個bump steer 咧，佢就行比平時多1M 嘅，平時係2M，而家就3M。同埋防傾缸佢就揀1.3、1.2。
You want to explain a bit what you've tested on your car throughout today, or?
On my car, to help with the bumps, I went to 550 shock oil with PSS. Usually I use 450, but the 550 seemed to help me over the bumps, and I raised the downstops. So the whole day I was running 5646. The last one I tested 6 in front. Seemed to work, but I'm not sure. The 5646, I think, especially in the middle, the center straight, they help to calm the car down over the big bump. Yeah.
咁啊，呢架就阿當明架車佢就話，因為場地比較大，就油壓有平時就450，而家就550，佢都係行埋嗰個電進筒嘅 PSS。 咁咧就試緊呢個down stop，平時行5.6、4.6，而家is 6 in the front down stop。5.6 but now
I tested 6 just now, but I'm not sure if it's better.
咁咧就試6或同埋5.6，佢就唔係太清，未試清楚就繼續試啦呢個。
Can you explain a bit about the body shell? This right here is a Proform LTCR lightweight. It's mounted quite far to the front. As you can see, there's a lot of flex and left in the front, so it's pushed forward at least 6 millimeters more than the neutral setting. It has a hard wing on it for increased downforce, and I also added side stiffeners to make it more stable in high speed, which is nice in modified racing.
咁佢就講咗去殼嘅設定啦。咁你就見到咧呢度咧就剪剩好少嘅，即係個殼近到好前。仲有呢個殼測就唔係啲咩新嘢啦，佢話會定啲咯，高速嗰陣時，同埋有呢個嘅 Polo 房嘅硬翼都好硬嘅，係啦。
A couple other things on the car, which we need to explain. As you can see, we're not running a servo saver, we're running a servo horn to make the steering more direct. In the middle, we're running a carbon center stiffener. So instead of the turnbuckle, which comes in the kit, or as another option, we're running the carbon stiffener in the middle. So this makes the car initially more aggressive, gives it more corner speed, makes it a bit less forgiving.
What's the best bit? The best bit? The best bit before this. 佢就唔行西部 saver 嘅，因為話直接啲，咁佢哋就唔炒就冇乜所謂嘅。咁就佢哋咧就行呢個中間有條雪條棍嘅碳嘅雪條棍嘅，佢就話有咩用咧？就係第一下轉啲再彎速會高啲，但係就會難打啲。
Does anyone have any questions at this point?
問題想問下。
No questions?
咁我叫佢講多啲 ARS 嗰啲 setting。
Can you explain more about the ARS?
個 setup 即係呢度。
What does he want to know? Like the difference between ARS and standard?
What setting do you hit here?
Okay, so the basic setting is no shim here and no shim here, like 0. But sometimes to get more mid-corner steering, we add 1 millimeter shim here. As you can see, I use here 1 millimeter. When the grip is high, you can use 1 millimeter.
咁佢就平時咧就出邊同裏邊都冇戒指嘅，但係佢話呢度咬啲，所以就加1M 喺個杯底，咁就翻生活就轉啲。What happens if you add inside?
And inside, yeah, that makes it come more stable.
會定啲。如果裏面加戒指會定啲。
And another thing, which is kind of a fashion thing, but actually makes a lot of sense, is that we're running a lot of weight in the center line of the car. As you can see here, there's a 20-gram weight right in the middle. There's a battery backstop here, which is 5 or 6 grams. Yeah, and as you can see on Dominic's car, he has an insert here in the servo, which is another 5 or 6 grams, plus the battery holder. When you add a lot of weight to the center of the car, actually gives you more traction, makes it neutral.
咁咧佢就話咧為咗靚啲啦就中間會加鉛，中間呢條線加鉛。咁佢話咧其實除咗靚之外咧仲有用嘅，佢話架車會咬啲嘅，會易揸啲嘅，平均啲嘅揸起上嚟。
Dominic, you race sometimes also on low traction, right? Can you explain what is the biggest difference on your setup from low traction to high traction track?
Biggest difference for me, I think, shopper. So usually at home I use 450 PSS and softer diff. At home 5 or 6,000. And usually I use the turnbuckle in the middle. Yeah, to generate more tension.
咁啊，當嚟話咧，就平時鬥車啲場地冇咁咬嘅，咁有咩分別咧？就係話油壓油啦，就450啦，而家就行緊550，雅叉就6000，而家10000。
Alright, so me and Dominic, we both race modified, and we have quite similar setups. But there are a couple things which are different because we have different driving styles. For example, in my car, I'm running the hard progressive springs. So Dominic has decided to use the linear 2.8 spring all around, which makes the car initially less nervous and more forgiving from mid-corner, whereas my setup is a bit edgier and harder to drive.
咁佢就講翻兩個車有乜佢哋 set 法似嘅，但係都有少少自己嘅風格，因為始終揸法有少少唔同。咁啊 Alex 咧就用2.28自進大功啦，佢就話入彎嗰下會勁啲嘅，佢就行2.8普通大功，佢就話入彎會靜啲嘅。
And another difference is I'm running my front arms straight, whereas Dominic has the rear front block higher than the front. And that makes the arm have an angle, which gives it anti-dive. Which also makes the car turn initially less, but more from middle to exit.
咁佢就講翻Dominic咧就用呢個潛水叫做，咁就第二隻馬就高過前面嗰隻，咁就入彎嗰下咧就反應冇咁快，但係出彎啲彎心會再轉啲。
And we also prepared a setup sheet to hand out to everybody, which is a good basic setup for this track, which is a setup that I ran yesterday. So we use this setup, and if you have any questions, come by and we'll try to help you.
咁Alex 就預備咗啲 setting， 就係尋日嘅 setting 俾你哋參考下，有咩問題可以過嚟問下佢。
Like to add anything?
Do you change the front and rear suspension on the wheel?
Yes. We tune it for more high-speed steering that we move the wing forward.
咁就有人上網問就話你嘅前頭擺位，咁就如果擺前啲咧就高速彎就再轉啲啦。要 install the PSS upside down。要再問 PSS 會唔會調轉裝？係唔會嘅。
The PSS has the bigger opening towards the bottom, so it gets progressively harder.
就下面個窿就喺上邊。
And I would not recommend to flip it over.
就唔建議你擺轉裝啦。
Do we have any other questions?
In ARS, what conditions?
It's really difficult to say. I mean, normally I would say ARS is suited for high-speed tracks with good grip. But lately we've been using it for most asphalt tracks. But for example here, last year or 2 years ago we ran on that track, we ran the standard rear suspension because it was better suited for the tight corners over there. And here where you have more high-speed corners, the ARS seems to be more corner smooth.
咁就有朋友仔問幾時用 ARS 嘅，咁佢就話比較難答啲，但係佢話近排就周圍都用㗎啦。通常就高速嘅車同埋咬嘅車會用。
Yeah, and for me at VD Race, which is a tight track with medium traction, I also use ARS. As well as C&TC, it's a big track but low grip. So I use ARS in both cases.
Dominic 話去 VD Race 嗰陣時就一個中型啲嘅車都唔係太咬，但係都用 ARS。
It's really hard to determine because it's very track specific. But that's the general sum of rule I can give.
So do you basically when you arrive at a track you test ARS at normal numbers?
If I have no previous experience with the track,
That's the best thing you can do.
I'll probably start with ARS these days on asphalt.
咁泰山嚟就話去到將條新 track 咧，第一樣試咧就係 ARS 同埋普通嘅尾盒，佢就會試 ARS 先嘅。係咪通常都用金？Always aluminium.
Yes, always.
所有時間都係用金屬尾啲咗嘅。
Plastic TM normally too loose. Maybe.
都話彎心會甩嘅，如果用膠鐵咗。
Because it's flexible.
I think it's more a point of the weight. You have more weight, so less weight can transfer to the front and corner entry. You have more rear grip of power. More questions?
Why do you always trim the top?
Yeah, we get that question a lot. And basically it's because when you shift the shock away from the tower, you create like a leverage. So it actually makes the damping a bit softer, makes the car less edgy, frees it up. Actually gives you more corner speed basically.
咁有人問呢個油壓架戒指，佢就話因為攝出啲咧就離遠啲咧就個槓桿原理，就個油壓嘅效果咧會冇咁接近穩定啲啊，咁就易揸啲，冇咁穩定啲啦。
We can explain about the tire prep we use here. To clean the tire before you apply the tire sauce is an aggressive cleaner like Acorn Tire Cleaner or Trinity Red Dot to clean the tires. And right after that you apply the Mighty Gripper Yellow, the V3, for 10 minutes. And after 5 minutes you reapply. So you apply 2 times and for a total time of 10 minutes. That's the best tire prep we've found so far.
Do you apply outside because it's quite cold with the Acorn?
I tried applying outside, but I couldn't tell a big difference. Keep doing it inside.
咁佢就講解咗搽太水呢個佢嘅方法，就用話要比較勁嘅嘢嚟抹啦。佢用專業嗰隻紅點啊剪太水，或者 A 蓋嗰支銀色橙色蓋嗰支嚟抹，然後就搽黃罐啲30分鐘。咁我就問埋佢，因為啲冷氣房比較凍，咁就會唔會出嚟搽？佢話試過兩樣都係冇乜大分別，所以就
You don't need tire warmer.
I think after half lap you have decent temperature in the tire because it's so hot. The track is so hot. The tire warmer will only overheat the tire more.
佢話因為條車熱咧，咁就唔使煲胎，行半個圈光啱咁就行得過嚟。
More questions?
No more. Any news about the 216? 218?
Yeah, we're currently testing the 18 version as well. Unfortunately, I cannot tell you what's gonna come in the kit, but I can assure you it's gonna be bigger updates compared to last year. There'll be 2 big updates to the car, which I think people will like a lot.
咁就有位朋友仔問2018有咩改變咗，但係阿 Alex 就話暫時唔可以公佈太多，但係佢話有2樣嘢嘅大改變嚟嘅，比上年改得多嘢嘅，你一定會中意嘅。翻切留意啊！
I know some of you have seen spy photos online, but I don't know anything about that. So.
話啲人偷拍咗佢度，唔知咩嚟㗎。
想問下咧，如果喺一條車個出售係低嘅時候去佢會一開始係用啲乜嘢處理方法，即係改架車嘅聲啊，會令到佢變成車咧
？What setup do you change for low grip?
The first thing you change is to go to a lighter dip oil, between 6 and 8 thousand maybe. If it's really low, you can go to a standard rear axle instead of the ARS. You can play with the bit height. You can go lower dip in the rear for more stability on power. You can add more towing to the rear. Yeah, those are the basic things I would do.
咁有人問如果條車咬有咩搞？佢就話打叉油啦，就4至6千。尾推如果真係好唔咬嘅話，就拆咗 ARS 行翻普通嘅尾盒，就會加粗啲。 同埋佢話咧會用呢個頭高尾低嘅瓦差高度就再
change the position of the
Yeah.
X-ray.
Low dip or low grip?
咁就咬嗰時就會頭高尾低。
Do you want to add anything to that? Or maybe you can also try changing the flex of the motor mount. So you can use a screw at the back for more stability.
Yeah, I forgot about that. We have the big benefit on the X-ray car to have such a big adjustability for the motor mount. So instead of running the screw all the way to the front, which I'm running here, you can move it all the way to the back. It makes the flex point further back, and that flex will allow you to get more grip, low grip track.
同埋佢話 XRAY 好就有啲排窿俾你 set 嘅，佢話越咬咧就越向後，越咬就向前。哦，
Stiffener goes through that hole.
哦
But you also have the option to mount it from the bottom.
哦，咁就呢個你見到呢兩個突咗兩個螺絲俾出嚟嘅，係只不過係中間個殼撐嚟嘅啫。佢話一係可以收下邊同埋收上邊收落去，上邊入翻啲。
I think it's a bit stiffer when you mount it from the top.
佢話咁樣比較再扭多少少，比起下邊收粒平手落。
個 spring 鏈同埋 modify 咧，即係
modify 啦。
That's a good question. I'll go softer dip in the rear, not as hard dip probably.
How much?
Yeah, like 6,000-7,000.
有人問Pinky 同 modify setting 最大分別咩咧？就係壓差啦。佢話呢條車應該6,000-7,000有到啦。
And next thing is, the blinky, I will not use PSS shocks. I will use the standard piston shocks. Makes the car a bit more forgiving. It gives you more corner speed, but not so edgy, which you don't need in blinky, but it's more needed in modified.
同埋 Pinky 咧就唔會行前進筒，因為佢話會難揸啲，會行翻普通嘅 All piston。行翻4窿牙下，佢就話易揸啲，你馬大馬，中馬，大馬。
And also, if I run blinky, usually I use a 2.6 or 2.7 linear rear spring. Just keeps the car more consistent, and yeah, I think for blinky it's better for the speed.
Front spring
still hard.
Pinky 就會用2.5前進彈弓，26或者27俾彈弓。
有都冇分別。
10個咯，400。
Yeah, with the standard piston, 4-hole, you need to use softer oil compared to PSS. So if you use PSS, 550. Then with the 4-hole, you need to use around 450 or 500.
It's more fresh.
佢講緊油佢話因為 Pinky 唔行前進筒咧，就會行翻稀啲油。如果用前進筒就會硬啲油。
但係冰皮啊，即係使乜要留啲嘢？
呢啲正下對唔對
To be honest, I wouldn't play with flex.
Just run a standard 佢話唔會 set 扭唔扭佢就set 其他嘢，唔會 set 即刻扭動。
I know the European guys, stock team drivers in Europe, they don't run the shims under the top deck. You know, we run the shim here, raise the top deck up, but in stock, they don't use it. No shim.
No shim.
佢話 modify 咧就2樓板下面會攝戒指嘅，但係歐洲 ETS
Yeah, the ETS team drivers in stock.
ETS 跑 stock 咧就13.5冰皮咧就唔會攝戒指。
Basically, makes the car a bit more predictable. So you can be more on total in the middle of the road.
佢話會易揸啲喎，冇戒指。2樓板底。
Will it give a bit more for traction? No relation between the
Without shims?
Yeah.
Probably slightly more forward traction. Slightly more. But very little.
Oh, and in blinky you can try for the flex setup, you can try this screw hole with a nut on top. You can try and like loosen the nut like quarter turn or half turn. Sometimes I use that in binky. Yeah, sometimes just more for the speed.
咁啊，當嚟話咧，冰器咧就會收冰器咧就會用收呢粒用粒絲母收，就唔好扭緊可能緊鬆1/4段度，中間呢個。
Yeah, basically the kit setting out of the box is a screw with a nut, not only a screw. That's what the guys run in.
喂，係咪咁㗎？
歐洲嗰班都係咁樣。
過唔到就得㗎啦嘛。
Okay. Anything else?
T.R.C. I want to know, you have graphite or plastic? Any difference on the car?
Always graphite.
Graphite.
Always graphite.
How about plastic? If you plastic.
Plastic, a bit more stable. Less corner speed. More stable. More understeer.
Because it's too soft.
The thing is, with the XRAY plastic arms, they are much more heavy than the graphite. So it makes the car more stable, more understeering.
咁啊問ARS 可能俾啦會行膠或者碳運碳嘅，咁就話永遠行運碳嘅。點解咧？就係因為膠嗰隻咧就好多架車會推啲。
Oh, and one more thing for blinky. Usually I think the Speed 6 or like the from Protoform or the NASA 2 from Montec gives you more corner speed. It might not feel better, but I think all the ETS stock drivers feel that it's faster than LTC or IS2 in stock.
當年就講解話歐洲佢哋玩咧就係13.5冰器，就大眾用快車學嘅，唔係自己學嘅，就會用CD6。佢話可能齋上嚟冇咁正嘅比 LTC， 但係彎速會快啲，再靜啲咯。
More questions?
咧就要講咧，接個彈弓正常嘅彈弓啦，佢哋setting會係用正常彈弓佢哋係會要求乜嘢？呢樣嘢
It says sometimes when you look at your setting kit, it's progressive spring, and sometimes it's linear. When do you switch?
Depending on
the difference between.
Depending on the track. I mean, the progressive rear gives you more forward traction, but it is a bit harder to drive in the middle of the corner because the rear wants to roll more. But if you use the linear spring, the rear stays more flat, so it's kind of it's less leaning on the rear. It allows you to get on control earlier.
What traction is on throttle?
And with the progressive, more forward bias.
So what is forward traction? What is forward traction?
How well the car accelerates.
轉咗問幾時用漸進大弓，幾時用普通大弓？漸進大弓咧就會煲啲架車，咁就會可能難揸啲，但係俾油嗰下會咬啲。
So yeah, basically means less wheel spin.
就冇咁易打滑喎個俾油。
普通彈弓
唔係漸進
彈弓冇咁大，即係個彎深度
係用受油啲。
咪買支遙控啦，喺支遙控裏面嘅聲佢嘅即係會有啲特別嘅聲，一定係佢嘅支遙控開咗你教嘅，即係喺一個相特嘅嗰個 setting 啦，即係。
Are there any special settings used on the radio?
Not really special. I use minus steering exponential. Minus 6 or 7 usually.
就冇乜特別，就係減 curve 咯，6.7度。轉向即係一定係咁啊，
I never change it.
佢話永遠唔會有唔同 curve。
Speedo is so adjustable. You can always set whatever you want in the speedo.
我話因為而家啲電器冇好多嘢 set，咁咪電源 set 就得啦。
同埋喺個 C 座嗰度，佢會黐一隻戒指喺度。 有嘢係啲錢會唔會知？係啊，係會唔會係一定會知喺度，即係任何人頭啊，車頭。邊度啊？知道啊！
我有時會知嘅。深圳
include ship 咧
Unknown driver. Unknown driver. Unknown driver.
I didn't do it. I can't remember why. But it limits the steering lock. So you have exactly equal steering lock left and right.
佢話咁樣啲戒指咧就兩邊一樣，我睇過。佢今次好似㗎啦，哦幾點解？
Any other questions?
19.5. Good shot. 15.9. 15.1. 17.9.
Feel free to grab a setup sheet and a t-shirt.
17 flat. 10.12. 17.2. 17.3. 15.6.
Stay there for a minute.